What's up, everybody? Oracular Music here. Today we just have a little video on bass, and that is matching a bass line to your sample, tuning it to your sample. This can be tricky if you sample something from an unfamiliar source, you're not sure what key it's in, and the sample doesn't really have something that you can work a bass out of. So you're going to have to add your own bass line with Bassline or another plugin or what have you. So we're going to have a look at that and see what that looks like. So we got a sample chopped up here. It's a violin sample. So we got that there. First thing you're going to want to do is see what key the MPC is telling you that it's in. So we're going to go to track edit on that program that I chopped up. So that tells me it's in A minor. Right there. Usually the MPC is pretty accurate, does a good job at detecting the key. So first thing you're probably going to want to do with your sample is tune it or flip it to some degree. So I would recommend flipping your sample or tuning your sample to where you want it first before you go matching the bass. So we got A minor. I'm going to pitch it up a bit. Oh, sorry. The first thing you're going to want to do is come up here and select all chops. So that way we're not tuning just one pad, we're tuning across the board, every chop. So let's go up to C minor. So there's our chops. I have the chops played out here. Okay. So next we're opening up a bass. So I got some sub factory here. We're going to go into pad perform and notes. And then we see it starts in C major. So one of the more popular tips, and it does work, and that's what we're going over today, is tuning your bass track up a few octaves, a couple of octaves, just so you can hear it over the sample and see that it's in tune before you record it in the lower octave. And we'll do that to try to kind of match the tuning as well. So if we go up to, say, bank B or C, right? Doesn't sound like much of bass, but we can hear the tuning and the frequency better. So let's see. So we know it's in C minor, so we're just going to jump right over to C minor. So like I said, the MPC is accurate a lot of the time, and you can follow that as a guide, but sometimes it is not completely accurate, and you will need to use your ear to find that root note to figure out what key it's in. But we're going to go to minor because I think we're pretty sure that the sample is in originally A minor, pitched up 3 semitones to make it C minor. So we can hear those notes, those right away, they resonate well, they're in tune. So we've pitched it up and we have found it to match our key of our sample chops. So now we're going to go and tune back down and hear the lower register. So we can hear that works. I'll just try to drive the bass up a little bit so you can hear it through the video a little better. Right, so that was accentuated, but you can hear that. So that little intro there, I ended up flipping it into this. No bass in the intro, and then it kind of comes into our more energy, our more hook part. Mute our bass, solo the bass. All right, so there is that way of doing it. That is what I find myself doing more often than not. Just as another example here, you can transpose here on the main page. If you're wanting to double check that it's in tune, you can just go a full octave up, which is 12 semitones. This transpose will only change internal plugins and things playing internally, not external sources like samples or anything like that. So it's going to sound funny when you're pitching it up because the bass will fall out of tune because it will transpose, but your sample will not. But we can go up a full octave to hear that it's matching and is in tune. Right, so a full octave up, we can hear it. So we know it's matching. We can go ahead back and keep it at untransposed. So we have those low register notes. So something else you could do as well is once you do know what key you're working with, so we were happy with the sample being pitched up 3 semitones and in C minor. Well, there's a few things you could do other than that method. You could upload a bass sample that's in a minor key, or you could use a bass sample in a major key, but when tuning it, you're going to have to know the relative minor for it to match. So you could find a bass that's already in C minor, knowing that's what you're working in, and chop that up. Or you could have found, say, a bass line that was in any key, really, G minor, F sharp minor. But then what you want to do once you sample it in is pitch the semitones to match the C minor and chop it up. You could do it that way. Another method that I've been using is, let's see if it'll only work on some samples. Depends on the frequency and what you're working with and that sort of thing, the cadence of the sample. But you would be able to come into the kill EQ. I'm going to solo this track here. Track mute. So we have just our sample. And you can try to pull the bass frequencies out of that. So you could duplicate this program, but only have the low register. And you can chop that up and use that as your sample, or as your bass rather. So we will see if that works with this sample. It may not. Right? So we're sort of getting a bassy note there. So you could easily enough chop that up and do a little bit of sound design there and get that working as the bass. Add some more low end through some other effects inserts, whatever have you. It can be done that way. Let me know in the comments if there's any tips you guys have other than those that may help for creating and matching a bass to your sample. I know that's something that can be a struggle for myself all the time. Finding that bass can be difficult, but one of these methods usually gets it done. That's it for today. Peace.